Now that you've learned about the logical approach to border, padding, margin, and writing mode, let's put them all together in a challenge. Here's the way we would like to make this block of text look. Using logical properties for border, margin, padding, and writing mode, see if you can achieve this layout. We've given you some starting HTML and CSS. You should not need to change the HTML to solve this challenge. You're welcome to use other CSS properties as you see fit to complete the challenge. Pause the video to take on this challenge. Here's how I solve this challenge. So first of all, anytime you start any of these challenges, you should always start with your HTML. And our HTML here is pretty simple. We have a div with a class of bubbles. We have 2 paragraphs inside of that. One paragraph contains an image, and the other paragraph contains some text. Now we can jump to our CSS. So for that div with a class of bubbles, I gave you some of these styles to start with that our width would be 500 pixels and our padding would be 1 rem. You would need to add some of these additional styles here. So our writing mode would be vertical, right to left. How do we know that? Because the text you read from the top right side all the way down to the lower left side, so vertical, right to left. Margin block is auto. This will center this on the page. And that seems unusual because you were thinking it was margin inline. Margin inline auto is what you would use with horizontal top to bottom text. But since this is vertical text, this axis is the block axis. And so we use margin block of auto. Margin inline of 5 rem to put us some space above and below this particular box. We can put a border on all 4 sides of 10 pixels. And then I just changed the value of those styles. The inline styles are going to be double. The block styles are going to be dotted. So that was the way I wrote this. You could certainly write this out as border inline, 10 pixel, variable orange double, and border block, 10 pixel with a variable orange of dotted. That would be okay too. And then finally, I threw a little bit of a curveball here at the end with the image. You might have noticed that by default, if I take out this little line of code here, your image is going to be exactly as it appears on the page with your top to bottom, left to right style text. In other words, it looks just like this. When we are working in English, which is not designed to be read in this vertical orientation, this display looks a little bit odd. But with a little imagination, I'm sure you can think that if you were reading this text from top to bottom vertically, that image would look absolutely fine. So in order to get this image to work with the text and its orientation, I've simply used a transform property to rotate the image by 90 degrees so it looks better from an English perspective, since we're probably reading this sideways here on our web page. And I applied a little bit of padding on this to just make it look a little bit prettier on the page. So that's how I address this particular solution. This is a little bit more open-ended than some of the previous challenges, and it's possible you have a slightly different answer, and I'm sure that that is okay also.